Hey bookish pals, I don't know about you, but I've been having a rough few weeks. So I'd like to talk about something that is more positive. And I don't have a whole lot of people to yap about books with IRL, so I'm gonna yap at you about some books that I have read this year that I have enjoyed so far. At least I think I've read them all in 2026. I could be incorrect there, but I only recently started tracking my reading progress, so nah, good enough. Now, if Editing Morgan has her crap together, you should be seeing all of the books that we're going to talk about on the screen here now. Ooh, that's exciting. If she doesn't have her shit together, then you won't be seeing it. And we're going to forgive her, hopefully. But even if you're not seeing them here, they'll all be down in the description in case you're curious. A quick disclaimer here is that I am going to be giving my review, at least briefly, but I will not be giving spoilers because I do understand that a lot of people do like to read reviews before they choose to spend their time and money on a book, but spoilers kind of ruin the experience for them. So no spoilers, and if I feel the need to spoil something, I will warn you so that you can skip ahead. Okay, now let's just kind of get into this because I'm excited. I want to yap, but it's also almost dinner time and we are losing light, so we got a time crunch here. Let's get into this, and let's go ahead and start with the book I have on top that happens to be the one that I have finished most recently, which is The No-End House by Jeremy Bates. Now, this is a thriller horror novel, and I really did enjoy it. I thought that it was unique. It made me keep reading, and it was a page turner for me. Now, it does deal with themes of like grief and loss and trauma, and the trigger warnings in this book are for real. It does deal with things like adultery, again, grief, traumatic, gruesome loss of a spouse, the essay of children. So just keep that in mind before going into this book. There's also violence and death and things like that. But it gripped me. It had me asking what the fuck the whole time I was reading this book, and it was good. And honestly, I still don't know if Joe should have trusted Helen or not. And that is just absolutely fantastic. Overall, for me, this was a 4.5 star read. So if you are looking for a another book for your summer ween read, or really any time of year if you want a horror or thriller book, I recommend this. I picked it up on a whim during one of the book outlet fiction sales, and it was one of those wins for me. I've been really lucky with those sales and picking up books on a whim. That's going to be a theme here. Almost every book that I picked up on a whim. So yeah, let's move on now. Ooh, that is a lot of spiders. Holy crap. Okay, you know what? I'm gonna leave that in because this is real. This is the realities of filming in the outside world. Well, let's move on to the next book, and I'm going to kind of stick with the horror theme here. Now, I don't have my physical copy of this book right now because I loaned it to my cousin. I've been promising it to her for months, and I finally remembered to take it to her. So we're going to talk about The Library at Hellebore, and this was a very short book, but I really enjoyed it. It is very, very gory though. So if you are squeamish, please don't pick up this book. You won't like it. However, if you do like a bit of gore, I do recommend this book. This was another 4.5 star read for me. I thought the characters were interesting. Everyone was unique. Everyone was dealing with their own trauma and stuff. The plot, it was only a 4 for me, but I think some of that had to do with just how quickly things were going, which this was a shorter book, so it kind of did have to go quickly. But the ending gave me one of those like creepy feelings, and yeah, I enjoyed it. If you like stuff like that, if you're okay with gore, if you want to feel a little creeped out and go, holy crap, what? Then I recommend. I also like the imagery, and the descriptions were really good in the book as well. Like, I'm a girl that if you got a nice description, I'm all there for it. And like, I thought the artwork on the cover and stuff was really pretty, and there were little wasps and stuff drawn throughout, and I enjoyed it. And there was some symbolism and the themes in that book. There was a lot of like, it was also grief, but it was also dealing with trauma in different ways and things like that. And I've read a lot of books dealing with trauma lately, so let's talk about Never the Roses. I know I'm kind of going quickly, but again, time crunch. Your girl wants her popcorn chicken, and we are losing light very quickly. So, Never the Roses. It is a romantasy, so switching up the themes here. However, it does still deal with trauma. This was a 5-star read for me. I loved this book. Now, this was another one I picked up on a whim, and I mean, it's beautiful. The sprayed edges are so pretty. Yeah, it was definitely like one of those books that it was a gamble, and luckily this gamble paid off. It also intrigued me that this book deals with an older female main character. Onira is post-retirement, so she's after her adventuring and all that, and she just wants to be left alone in her secluded manor on the coast to garden. And you know, don't we all? The romance is completely believable. The chemistry is there between her and, I forget his name. I read a lot of books, and I'm not great at remembering the names. Styranos. I really liked both of their characters. Like I said, I thought the romance was super believable. I liked how it kind of slowly developed, or it being the feelings between them slowly developed, which it was like a breath of fresh air, because a lot of romantices, the main characters, or at least the female main character usually, is younger, and it just feels like the attraction is there. It's fireworks almost immediately, even in books that are sold as a slow burn. This, the exchanging of the letters, the clever flirtation, I loved it, and I'm genuinely jealous of anyone who gets to read this book for the first time, because I wish I could read it for the first time again. But this is a book that next year I might reread it, because I did like it that much, and I don't reread a whole lot, mainly because squirrel brain wants to read new things constantly. But I highly recommend this book. I know that there's another book in this world that either is coming out or has come out. I don't know if I'm going to read it or not. I'm not as sold on the synopsis of that book. I think the characters are younger, and I think one of the things that worked so well was the dynamic between these more mature characters, because this really was a more mature romance for a more mature audience, but it was still spicy when it needed to be. So, loved it, recommend it. Let's move on, because remember how I mentioned that I feel like some books are sold as slow burns, but in actuality, they're not slow burns, at least in my opinion. I guess technically they might be. Well, this brings us to A Forbidden Alchemy by Stacy McEwan. Now, at time of recording, the Plot Twist Please Pod book club is currently reading this. I read it before that. I read this within the last couple of months, I think. I actually do have the dates that I read this one on Fable. So I enjoyed it. This was a 4.5 star read for me. The characters were only like a 4. The plot itself was like a 3.5 star for me. Some of the plot elements, they were kind of predictable, but I think that's a symptom of the genre in general, because, you know, it's a romantasy. I do think that the world is actually kind of unique. We have this struggle between a ruling class and a more exploited worker class, which is a common theme. But yeah, overall, this was enjoyable. I am almost assuredly going to read the sequel, which I think just came out, but I read this because it was recommended by the Contoured Librarian over on TikTok, and it seems like every book that she's recommended I have enjoyed so far, and of course I picked it up during a fiction sale. While I did like this enough to for sure want to read the sequel, I am gonna wait till I can get it on Book Outlet. I don't feel the need to buy it full price. It also helps that, you know, it's got pretty sprayed edges and things. I know it's kind of hard to see right now because I am losing the light and I'm mostly just illuminated by my laptop screen right now, but it's okay. I got 2 more books to talk about, so let's go ahead and move on. I'm sorry if my movements are a little disorienting to you. I'm in kind of a weird mood right now. If you want to know why, please go ahead and check out my most recent vlog. I'm sorry about that. There's stuff on the table and my brain is fried. We're hanging on by a thread here. So for the next book, we're going to talk about The Caretaker, which I did listen to the audiobook of this book, and it is by Marcus Kliewer. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. So The Caretaker by Marcus Kliewer. This was the book club book for the Plot Twist Please podcast book club last month. And like I said, I listened to the audiobook, which audiobooks are reading. I will stand on that, but this is not the time to jump on that soapbox because losing light here. But overall, this was a 4-star read for me. It was a thriller. The characters were dealing with a lot of trauma, and I did find that relatable. This book made me feel anxious in the best way possible, and it has been a long time since a book has made me feel anxious. So that was one of the things that I really liked about this book. I do kind of think that the audiobook format was part of the reason why I felt that way, because I do think that the voice actors reading the book, they did a chef's kiss phenomenal job. And if you want a creepy book to read, I highly recommend. This is also one that I do really recommend the audiobook for, because it was great. The ambiance really put me in that anxious state of mind. Hold on, we gotta go back a book. A Forbidden Alchemy is kind of marketed as a slow burn. I don't think it's a slow burn. I know that the actual romance doesn't happen until a smidge later in the book, but the attraction is there instantly. Like, you know they're gonna get it on pretty much immediately, but like the kink, well, I'm not gonna say that word. The spicy stuff happens closed door, so I don't think it's a slow burn, but technically it might actually be. Last, but certainly not least, we have For Whom the Bell Tolls by Jaysea Lynn. I really hope I'm pronouncing that right. And again, I'm sorry about the lighting right now, y'all. I could have plugged in my ring light, but I didn't. I thought I had more time, but we're getting through this together and it's okay. I'm not a professional here. I'm just excited about talking about books. But honestly, this book, I know it's really hyped up right now and it's worth the hype. It's 5 stars. I think it deals with trauma and a bunch of different trauma so beautifully. The characters are so believable. I love the way that they kind of have to wrestle with their demons, pun intended, by the way. And just, I love it. This is one of my favorite books I've read this year. If you only take one of my recommendations, take this one. Read For Whom the Bell Tolls. Like, it's just, it's fantastic. Now, the trigger warnings are real. So if you're not down with those trigger warnings, I totally understand you passing up this book. But reading this made me learn a lot about myself, and just, yeah, the romance in it is really, it's spicy and sweet at the same time. It's believable. It builds naturally. The friendships are fantastic and something that I genuinely envy. And just, I loved this book so much. I wanted more of it. I would love to read more in this world. I would love to see how the help desk develops. I understand that this is just the end of it, but this is one of those books I know that in a year or two I'm definitely gonna reread, and I am so jealous of anyone getting to read this for the first time. Like, if I could wipe my memory and read this for the first time again, I would. That's how much I enjoyed this book. Yeah, if you only take one of my recommendations, this is the one to take. Trust me. I don't often read books that are super hyped on purpose, but again, the Contoured Librarian recommended this, and I read it, and it is 100% worth the hype. In my opinion, I understand why some people may not like it though, but it was such a great book, and I need her Paradise House. I really do. This is the only spoiler. It's a hobbit hole. Like, who doesn't want to live in a freaking hobbit hole? But yeah, we're almost dark here. Those are the books that have excited me lately. I know this is just a short one. I might do a longer video for a couple of these, but I've been trying to make this video for days now, and I've had a long few days, so I will chat books with you again later, hopefully with better lighting. And get out there, go read. I'll see y'all in the next one.